The world of the Amazing Digital Circus is vibrant and colorful, reminiscent of early 2000s gaming and CGI children's media. In spite of the series taking place near the present time, and for the CGI being more advanced and higher resolution than early CGI model animation tests and demo reels, the primary colors remind me of children's television programs, of characters in CGI puppet format shown on media that emphasize loud primary color palettes. There are reds and yellows to make world pop, and props that remind us of school paraphernalia such as Fisher-Price educational toys. Being in a world trapped in a funhouse, the creators took advantage of the primary color palette to make the world uncannily vibrant to contrast with the horrors of the characters trapped in a stasis pod for neurological experimentations by the Caine and Abel Corporation. Being confined to headsets, the human subjects pilot digital avatars with unique character designs that reference their personalities and hardships they faced outside of the digital sphere. For this video, we're going to discuss the color palette of the character designs and how they complement their personalities and foreshadowing of the series, as well as briefly how other theories tie into the theory behind the hues.
Let's get this show on the road!
To go back in history, European court jesters were positioned to entertain monarchs when they were on break. They are licensed as actors, singing and performing comedic acts for the entertainment of rulers, being quoted as witty fools and entertainers. This persona could not be more different than Pomni's. Being introduced as a nervous wreck, viewing her life falling to pieces as she realizes the reality of her life sense in the carnival mayhem, she doesn't make anyone laugh for their pleasure, nor does she take idiotic acrobatic acts or screw with people. This avatar mold fits better for Jax in my opinion. Why was Pomni piloting this avatar? Well, if we look at Pomni and hints behind her human life, she was fed up with her mundane routine and is seeking adventure and posting videos online to do something for herself. Jesters, quote, ability to captivate audiences, make them valuable assets to the king. Posting videos online on a platform for entertaining audiences makes your avatar make more sense. But what was also interesting was the production team deciding her color palette, the primary colors of red, blue, and yellow. Her irises are blue and red like the top of a circus tent or a toy spinning top. For the brim and pom-poms of her jester hat, hems of her jumper and gloves, and the outer layer of her shoes, the color is a primary yellow. Why was she designed this way? If you look at the color wheel, blue and red make purple, and purple is a complementary color to yellow. The yellow can tell us that she bears slivers of her complete personality that she does not fully express with the other cast of characters before they all got guns. Remember this for later. She revealed her tendencies of being adventurous, bold, and reckless, exploring abandoned buildings in her pastime, seeking some excitement outside of her ordinary life before being hooked up by the VR headset. She represents this release by feeling more relaxed and in the gun and house adventure, when she seems more free being herself while just playing along with a fake evil persona with Jax. Speaking of Jax, his color scheme is different, but echoes the similar color scheme of his Jester companion. While almost reminiscent of one of those rubber hose animated cartoon characters or one of those stretchy bendable toys for children, his character model includes a fur overcoat with a purple pigmentation, combination of both red and blue. The purple coat also insinuates the uncertainty of whether he will decide to disconnect from the circus or remain trapped in virtual reality. We'll get into that later. He has yellow buttons securing the straps of his pink overalls, and he bears the pigment on his locked teeth and sclera underneath his volatile black pixel pupils. Yellow is complementary to purple, meaning that when these two colors combine, they cancel each other out to make white. What it could signify is that he's hiding his true persona that is either complementary to or the exact opposite of his crude, snarky, and funny archetype he's used to promoting. Notice in the torture sequence, Jax is mocked and tackled by the three silhouettes of Pomni, Kaufmo, and Rivet, who strip off his purple coat, exposing the naked yellow layer. This unveiling of his yolk-colored underlayer is an analogy of his fear of exposing his true colors, being mocked and betrayed by the ones he cares about the most. It also suggests that yellow symbolizes the character's true colors that are represented on hems of clothing, the overall buttons, and under the surface of the skin. Admittedly, I could not find much significance regarding the dusty pink overalls of the character, but I did originally think that his desires of wanting to leave the circus becomes diluted. Since pink is a combination of red and white, making it a lighter pigmentation of red, it could signify his desire of wanting to remain in the circus may be lessened due to the possibility of redemption. But that part of the theory may be going too far in the deep end. Kinger. A white king chess piece with a purple robe is a nod to the fact that he comes from royalty. In chess, while the colors of the chess pieces are used to differentiate the two players, white is supposed to represent light and purity, while black, brown, or red pieces represent darkness or the opponent. While Kinger was a white king, his wife Queenie was a black queen. She was the one that allowed darkness to take over her and lose her mind, while Kinger was remorseful, remained pure and intact. Noticing how Kinger was always cut to the side, not taken seriously, regarded for his crazy, kooky archetype, he proves those perceptions wrong by providing insight, guiding the members with his wisdom when soaked in darkness, and lighting the path for them, referencing a Christ-like persona displaying biblical significance. While purple is red and blue combined, it is also used to represent royalty. Back in ancient times, the purple pigmentation was the most expensive dye, which is why there are 0 countries, apart from Dominica, with flags representing that pigment since it was so scarce. Only kings and monarchs were the ones to afford such articles bearing that pigment. This demonstrates how Kinger had a position of power in CNA and how he was authorized to assist in the engineering of the Caine creative AI model. Now I thought it would be a time to give an honorable mention to 2 other abstracted characters, Scratch and Ribbit. This dog right here is theorized to be Scratch, the mad genius with a tumor in his head who concocted uncanny, out of the ordinary ideas. His coat is orange. Why is it significant? It is a secondary color, along with purple and green. Now, does this suggest that both Jackson Ribbit had some correlation with Scratch? It's uncertain, but not impossible. Considering that purple, orange, and green are secondary colors, they could have had a specific connection before the two's abstraction. And Jack's beginning to hyperventilate with the mention of Scratch by Kinger, it suggests that he knows something about Scratch that the other cast of characters don't. Also, while Jax is the most vulnerable out of the circus members to become abstracted like Scratch, it also implies, since Caine's code was deleted, there may no longer be a possibility to abstract, and maybe all the abstracted humans from Scratch to Kaufmo may become revived. Note that green is a combination of yellow and blue. Orange is a combination of yellow and red. Knowing if the abstracted characters become revived, since green consists of blue, Ribbit may leave the digital sphere, and since orange consists of red, and Scratch wearing a red shirt, Scratch may never want to leave. Jax could have wanted to leave if his slime green friend were at close quarters, but may not want to if the possibility of abstracted is null. Could I suggest that Jax and Ribbit wanted to leave the circus before Ribbit's abstraction? If they did, he probably decided after his friend's abstraction to accept his fate, adapt to the incident with a nihilistic perception that the circus is his funhouse. Nothing in the place matters, and the show of 3D caricature with a 2-dimensional archetype must go on. Now, admittedly, I couldn't find any source or hints as to whether the rest of the characters aligned with the color-based theory, with Ragatha greatly based on the 1918 Raggedy Ann doll who adorns her classic blue dress and red springy hair, Gangle inspired by the Thalian logo with red ribbons dating back from ancient Greece, and Zubul being a toy box character bearing multicolored trinkets as if the design were a conglomeration of geometric styles of the MTV bumper animation. So it is unclear as to whether the dress's blue hems are button eye of Ragatha, the red ribbons on Gangle, and the multicolored toy box design of Zubul hint at the futures that lie in the front of those 3. However, the molds of their avatars suffice in disclosing their personalities, struggles, and meanings behind the characters and previous lives. Ragatha is pressured to be perfect in everything from wanting to flee from the stress from her job and at home, suffering from high pressure of pleasing her clients, an abusive mother, creating high expectations to be perceived as the perfect girl. Zubul's unique toy box character model, like that of an 80s title card, includes mixing and matching detachable plastic extremities and ornamentations in each episode. And with this infinite amount of combinations and possibilities, no combination of parts could make Zubul satisfied, representing the character's body dysmorphic disorder, self-conscious consciousness and identity crisis. And derived from the classic symbol of theater from Athens, Gangel's avatar shows how the character is used to playing parts, whether it's a toxically positive manager at a restaurant chain, or like Jax, hiding under a mask to bottle up her emotions and dominate her feelings. As shown in the torture sequence, she displays fear in losing control of her emotions, with the painted carousel of emotions deteriorating before a truck hits her, suggesting her accident in the real world. Here is another theory behind the masks. Notice that she does not have an evil clone, but the oarsman is used as a substitute for her clone, which could be related to the figurine thing that she avoids letting the cat out of bag for, but I could be wrong. A theory I have for the non-existent doppelganger is due to her possessing both a comedy mask and a tragedy mask, so she already possesses two masks with opposite personalities that channel those emotions, which makes a doppelganger unneeded. Now let's get into the theories of red and blue. What you may have seen from my last video is a theory regarding the bowling ball and cakes that crush the characters during the intermission sequence. I'll make a brief overview on it, but you can check it out if you want more details. The theory basically describes how cake can represent life outside the digital world and the characters who want to leave the circus, while the bowling balls represent the characters wanting to remain trapped. Now this is how it is supported by the red and blue theory. Red means to stay, blue means to leave. Pomni touches her face with her blue-gloved hand, examining her new avatar's reflection in the mirror in the pilot. In episode 6, she was on the blue side of the makeshift funhouse, camera right, while Jax was on the red side, camera left. However, in episode 8, Pomni reluctantly touches her face with a red glove. Why is this important? It means that until episode 8, Pomni originally wanted to abandon the circus. Now she is partial. Seeing how she was on the blue side, camera right, it symbolizes her feelings in that moment of wanting to leave, as well as her worldview, as the right-hand side is associated with morality, strength, and goodwill. Jax is more reluctant to leaving. Even if he implied he hates it there, he takes advantage of the freedom that the circus grants him of being able to do whatever he wants. No rules, no law enforcement will stop him from doing what he wants, no matter how catastrophic. Since he melds himself with the digital world by brainwashing himself into believing his colleagues are not real humans as a coping mechanism from his traumas, sinking into the malicious, deceitful prankster, his feelings and worldview is represented by being on the left-hand side, which symbolizes corruptedness, weakness, and evil. Speaking of left and right, let's go to the symbolism of left and right hands. Back in the Victorian period, it was believed that the left side was a side of death and weakness, representing the sinister side. Sinistra in Italian translates to left. And the right side was a side of strength and life, which is why anyone who uses a left hand more often was believed to bear an evil essence. This is demonstrated in the fight scene. After he shoves Pomni away with his left hand, he blankly stares at it with a loss of words, symbolizing his weakness and the power of his evil nature. In episode 8, after Zubul accepts him and tells him that he's still one of them, he dumbfoundedly stares at his right hand, wondering if he still has any strength, good, or humanity left in him. This displays the mixture of both good and bad sides to him, with the left representing bad and the right representing good, creating an interesting dynamic of his uncertainty of wanting to fight and make the most of his life regardless of his past, or remain wrapped in the headsets and stay being a jerk. There is another red and blue theory regarding the two AIs that began the whole show, Caine and Abel. Who is Abel? Initially, I thought that a likely candidate for Kinger's real name is Abel, because while Caine detested Zubul for reasons unknown, he showed distrust and utmost hatred towards Kinger, even inventing an NPC character inspired by him and making sure Kinger doesn't know about the adventure. He shaves Kinger off screen and suspecting his involvement in trying to stop him when absent from the scope of Kinger from the other members. It would be symbolic in the sense that, rather than being a retelling of chapter 4 in the book of Genesis, where the jealous Caine kills his brother Abel, the inverse would occur. This theory, however, pinned the name Abel to another entity. During the introduction in episode 8, a beam of red light is born. What I can discern is that it is the Caine AI model appearing to be fed data and information based on images. Training of the AI model is visually represented in a beautifully artistic scene. Red, green, and blue datasets are being fed to the neural network to synthesize data from the digital world's terrain, NPCs, and avatars. Red is seen on Caine's red coat, green is shown on the iris of Caine's left eye, and blue is shown on the iris of Caine's right eye. As the AI swells with the digested red data, it exerts its own ideas for the in-game territory in neon hollow geometric shapes. As the AI is being fed green datasets, its output becomes more jagged and asymmetric, before frantically vomiting data even more distorted from the digested CNA office photos. The camera zooms out, revealing the red AI locked in a cellar-like space. The camera pans upward. A soft blue orb of light spawns. It is fed yellow datasets, steadily outputting its own extrapolation of data represented by perfect geometric shapes. What this could suggest that another team from CNA was working on a competitive version of the creative AI model, similar to Caine, but slightly different code. However, this is what upsets the red AI model, as the AI is being used for output better than its own. This is what triggers a corrupted red to break through the enclosed space and to engulf its blue competitor. It's seizing its properties to dominate the creative process. This is what makes a program become corrupt, designing a hijacked combination of corrupted output, which has put the blue AI hostage. Red light continues to beam on a black screen until it steadily generates outlines of shapes that connect, forming the tent of the amazing digital circus. What I think this could mean is that it is an artistic representation of Genesis chapter 4 in the version of creative AI. Caine murders his brother Abel due to jealousy, just like how the red orb swallowed the blue one whole. This suggests that the blue AI is Abel. As quoted by Bubble,
"You really were the lesser of the two."
It represents how Caine became incredibly vain over the AI with a similar code, letting his ego get the better of him. This reveals more insight on Kinger's role in the CNA Corporation. Kinger confirms that his favorite color blue is closest to black. But as I thought it could reference his wife who became abstracted, I remembered how the blue AI was engulfed by its red counterpart, leading to a black screen. This could reveal how Kinger may have came up with a different AI, the Abel AI, that could have operated better than the red AI, which made the other team and AI model become enraged, confining him and his wife in the stasis pod along with the other human subjects. This unveils how the digital circus became a living nightmare, tormenting imprisoned humans for the sake of keeping them locked for creative inspiration, and the AI's code allowed it to act on its own serpentile impulses. In many forms of media, red is used to capture the attention of viewers to represent feelings of energy, war, danger, strength, power, determination, as well as passion, anger, ferociousness, and evil when it comes to villains. Red overuses the idea of warmth, making it feel more like danger or even terror. Blue, on the other hand, is a calm and soothing color, and is not often used to represent antagonists, but rather the feelings of withdrawal, isolation, loneliness, silence, and mindfulness. The color palettes and the symbolism of the colors bring the world to life while suggesting the lore and foreshadowing of what is to come in the series. It is one of the many approaches that apply hidden messages to the pilot, meaning behind the avatar's designs, and how the characters are connected. It is a series' artistic inventiveness and visual representation of themes, ideas, and character psychology that makes it memorable and resonate with audiences. By the last act, I hope we can all appreciate the innovation of the artist, talent, and creator that brought the world to life, as well as the value of our own ideas.